Hey fam, this is for my fellow parents. Let me ask you a question. We know we have a past and we all made mistakes, right? But for those of us who decided to turn our lives over to Christ and take a different path and do better, and we have our families now, we have children. When our children are making similar mistakes that we did in our past, or maybe worse, or maybe not as bad, whatever the case may be, when they make mistakes that's going to affect their lives, how do you take it? Are you so self righteous in your living right path that you forget where you come from? And we're all the same. We have some of the same issues and trials, and we all handle things maybe differently. But for the most part, what I've seen with people who have given their lives to Christ, we are harder on the next generation, right? Now, I get it because, like I said, I'm you, right? I react that way because of this. I'm going to say it. We expect more of our children, don't we? We expect our children to be better than us in every way, even in the sinning category. We expect them to know better, especially if we taught them better. That's when it really bothers us the most. Like, I taught you better than that. How could you make this mistake? How could you do this? What happened? Don't you know better? Why were you so foolish? All these questions come to mind. And basically, it's not because we don't think they're human and we know we all fall short. It's because of the disappointment. We look to our children as our second chance. Well, this is my confession. We look to our children as our second chance at getting things right. And we kind of vicariously live through them. And then we were hopeful in the fact that because we changed our lives around and was trying to present ourselves as a better example for our children, that they would then in turn just do better and be better. But what happens when they fall short? How we react really matters. It really matters. Now, I believe that we can hurt our children. We can do more damage to them living this righteous lifestyle, right? And being more critical than them when we should be more humbled, and more considerate, because that's the same things that we needed from the Most High God. We needed His mercy and we needed His grace. And then we forget to be gracious and merciful to our own. So this video is a reminder to us parents to not be so hard on our children. Yes, when they make mistakes, it hurts us because they're our babies and we love them, even though they're adults. We love them and we want the best for them. And we know how painful the road is going to be when they make certain choices. So, of course, we get disappointed, we get let down, we get hurt because we don't want them to suffer what we did. But let's just look at it like this. We all are human. We all make mistakes. We all want to be loved and we all want to be accepted, right? So let us do our best to forgive firstly, and be understanding, because everybody needs it. Everybody needs to be understood. And sometimes we can't even fully understand one another because that's a job for the Most High God. He knows what's in our heart and what's in our head. We try to read one another and we're not really good at it. But what He asks us to do is to love one another. And that's what we all need. We need to be loved. We need to be helped along and we need to be encouraged. And our children need that from us. Let us not criticize them to the point where they feel separated from us or they feel like they can't tell us anything. Because I hate that. I don't want my daughters to ever feel like they can't tell me anything. And they know me. I'm going to react because that's me. I'm very passionate about a lot of things and I could overreact sometimes. But that's because I love them, I love them and I want more from them. And sometimes they might say, see, Ma, that's why I ain't want to tell you. Because I'm a mama. What do you want me to do? That's what we do. We go off. We go off sometimes, family. We go off. But one thing I love about having a relationship with the Most High God is that I hear the voice of the Holy Spirit. And let me tell you what the Holy Spirit does. Whew, takes me back. Rewind, rewind, not to throw my sins in my face, but to humble me. You did that same thing. But we forget. Sometimes we forget because we're no longer living that type of lifestyle. We forget where we come from. And if you really have a good relationship with the Most High God, you will hear the voice of the Holy Spirit speaking to you. Because I'm telling you, throughout my parenting years ago, I remember being I was standing in a hallway area of my apartment. And I think my daughters were like teenagers. They were young. They were young. And this was so long ago. And I like to use this scenario as an example because I'm standing in the house complaining. La, 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 la. I done told these girls, how many times I done told them this and this don't make no sense. How many times? And as I'm spewing those words from my mouth and I'm angry, the Holy Spirit was like, how many times did you do things against the Lord and had to ask for forgiveness? I'm like, oh, we need to be reminded that we are imperfect people trying to find our way. And our children are not going to be where we are spiritually. And I'm talking to those of us who are growing in wisdom under the guidance and laws of the Lord. Just because we're getting better in our life and we're choosing, making better choices, we can't expect our children to be just like us. They're not our age. They have not had the experiences that we have and the wisdom, that comes with age. They don't have it yet. They still need our guidance. They still need our example. And that's the best we can do. Pray for them, guide them, speak to them. We see them going wrong, talk to them. Let them know we love them and we want the best for them. We need to even sit down and share some of our mistakes once they're adults, because I don't think we should tell our children when they're too young personal details about adult situations. There's a time for everything. I don't think it's appropriate to tell young children those things. But once your children become adults, I think it's okay. Well, I do. That's me. I don't know. Everybody doesn't want to tell their children their personal things. But I think it's a problem when you do that, when you hide everything from them and come off as perfect. Because one of my daughters shared that with me. She said, "Ma, you just seem so perfect." And I'm like, if she only knew, because you don't display your mistakes and sins in front of your children. Well, most of us don't. Nowadays people are doing any and every crazy thing in front of their children. I've always found it necessary to protect my children from certain things, and so I did. And as I changed my lifestyle, I set different examples for them, and so they didn't see the mommy of the past. They didn't know the times that I've done something so awful that I was embarrassed about it, or it separated me so much from the Most High God that I felt so hurt and alone. They had no idea. But as they got older and we had deeper discussions and we learned to share things with one another, and I opened up and said, let me tell them about this, because I don't think we as parents should allow our children to think that we're perfect. They should see the changes made in us. Nobody knows you better than your children, honey, because they live with you. And some of us put on a front for the world that your children see right through because they live with us. So if you're going to be honest with anybody and transparent with anybody, it should be your children. And to do it in an effort to help them along in their lives and to guide them to making better choices. And a lot of people say, oh, we have to all learn from our mistakes, but we do not. You don't have to make the same mistakes your parents did. You don't have to. You can choose to do better, to take a different path. But parents, when our children mess up, and they will, if they're flesh and blood, they will. We need to be there for them, to guide them through it, to pray for them, pray with them, and just help them along, because we all needed that. Imagine all the times that you sinned greatly against the Father. Sometimes I hate even recalling it. I'm serious, because that's so not who I am now. It's like I can't believe I did that. You can't believe it, but that's the beauty of changing. That's the beauty of it. But unfortunately, when we begin to get pious and too self-righteous, the Holy Spirit is there to remind you, pull you by your collar. Check, check, check. Did you not do the very same thing? Perhaps even worse than what your child did? You know, our young people, they still need our guidance. They still need our prayers. And some of them are really wayward. And sometimes we have to look at ourselves, our past, both parents. A lot of the time, curses come down. So, what we've done, our children may do it and be worse at it. You know, just be patient. Practice patience, practice understanding, and practice forgiving and humility, because we all been in a place that wasn't a good place to be. It was a pit of sin. We all wallowed there. We've all wallowed there. So please keep that in mind when dealing with our children. They are the next generation. We have to set better examples. They need to see righteousness. They need to see it. Not when we're fronting for friends or fronting for whomever we decide to front for. They live with us. They know us. They see all our bad habits and our faults. We need to set better examples. We need to live righteously. And they need to know that when something is wrong in their lives, that they can come to us, because we need to be a place for them, a home, a home of comfort for them, a place of comfort. Yeah, y'all know what I mean. We should be that for our children. They need that. I had it. I needed it. I went to my grandmother's a many a time crying about whatever. And they were so good at dealing with me, you know? And I felt fine telling them stuff. Personal stuff too, bad stuff. I felt good because I knew that they were loving. I knew that they were understanding. I knew that they were righteous women of God who cared about me. And so when I'm going through something, it's like you need that rock. We know the Father is all that, He and the Son, but we have each other as well. We have one another. We need a person that we can go to for comfort and understanding, even when we've done like the worst thing possible. So, parents, this is my plea to us today as parents, and I'm reminding myself as well, when our children mess up, please breathe and think. Think about what you did in the past, not to beat yourself up about it because it's forgiven and it's in the sea of forgetfulness, but to remember that our children are going to mess up as well, and they need a place to go to. And we should be that. We have to be their rock. Yes, we're disappointed, and we would express that. I'm disappointed, sweetheart, that you did this. But you know what? You could bounce back, because we all can. There's no mistake that we can make that sometimes we can't fix certain things. Now, there's consequences. So be mindful of that in making decisions, that there's consequences. Young people, there's consequences. So be mindful of that. But family, parents, be there for your children. Peace, love, and blessings.